Welcome to I Hate James Dobson, a podcast by strong-willed children for strong-willed children.
That's a good one.
I can't believe they haven't done that one before.
I know, that's feels like it should have been way back in the day.
Welcome to I Hate James Dobson. My name is Jake. I'm a former evangelical turned queer sex therapist. And today, before I begin, I want to let you, the readers, in on a secret which makes me grin. It's about Brooke, my therapy twin, who does not play violin and whose hot dog love borders on sin. Her wit is as sharp as a pin and her beauty is deeper than skin. Her insights are always a win. And now this poem is Finn-ish. Hi, Brooke!
That was incredible. That was a lovely, lovely poem. Thank you so much. That was the exact kind of poem about me that I would want someone to write. Full of truth and also hilarious.
And also, how many words can I rhyme with in?
All of them. Did the crickets just get very aggressive?
They sure did.
What happened? They weren't like that 1 second ago.
And they're also right outside the window.
What is happening? Last time we had moths, and this time we have like a cricket war. Oh, okay, they're gone.
For now.
What? Oh.
Brooke, how are you?
I'm great. I'm good. I'm fine.
Cool.
This is going to be a real boring opener because I don't have any new books and I haven't done anything. But I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to talk about this book. So,
Brooke, how was the Odyssey?
Oh, the movie?
Yeah, I'm sure this will still be a culturally relevant topic whenever you, the reader, are listening to this.
Okay. Here's the deal. It was good. Did you see it?
Not yet.
Okay. It was good.
The readers, you didn't see the little head shake.
I mean, what am I supposed to say? It's the Odyssey. It was good.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, the nerds in my life demanded that we see it at the Music Box because it was on 70 millimeter.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know movies like that. I'm like, is it going to be the same actors? And are they still going to be in the sea?
It's a little bit grainier.
Yeah, great. You know what also wasn't? A chair where I could recline and have a cup holder.
I love the Music Box. It's a really cool independent theater.
Yes.
The seating needs some love.
Yes, please. But you know what is hilarious? Is that the Music Box, I love, and there's no place better to go at Christmas than the Music Box.
I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show there for the first time.
I would love that
and that's
too.
the perfect venue for it.
We should do that sometime.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's the kind of stuff you want to see there. I go there every Christmas and I see It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm.
And there's an organ player that comes out before every movie and plays the organ, which is very sweet when It's a Wonderful Life. Or maybe also kind of camp and funny when it's Rocky Horror. It's just real weird in front of the Odyssey. And my friend was like, was Zeus the god of ragtime? And I was like, yes. And you've heard the music from Odyssey. It's like, right? And so it just didn't line up. You guys let me know if you want me to sing that again for you. Okay, so here's what I have to say. You'll like it because it's good. It's
uh-huh.
But I don't know. Let me tell you the story of the Odyssey. Matt Damon wants to go home, and it's real hard to do that. But then he does. The end.
The end. I went to go see Hadestown.
Oh, was that good?
It was really good. Oh my God. The person who plays Persephone.
Oh God.
Is incredible.
Okay.
Every moment she's on stage, I'm like, that's the star. That's who the show's about. I love
that.
her. She's incredible. She's so talented. Editing Jake. Her name is Amber Gray. Amber Gray, if by some godforsaken miracle you happen across this podcast, you are a star. I'm your biggest fan, and I love you.
Do you know who's going to be playing Mary and Oh Mary on the tour?
Well, I know one of them is Alaska Thunderfuck.
Alaska!
And she ends right before it comes to Chicago.
I know, that's why we are going to go to Minnesota and see her.
I want to go with you.
Okay. I mean, it'll be me and just a bunch of old gays, but it's the best people.
That's my favorite. Those are my people.
Okay, what's next on our agenda?
You said you don't have any books?
Sorry, everybody, but I have just been watching TV. Great. I took a book break. I mean, I'm reading books because here's the thing. A little life might be the new middle mark.
I sent this to you elsewhere, but the amount of people who, when you mentioned that, sent very many concerned comments into DM saying, like, don't read this book.
I'm gonna read it. Because actually it is very, I mean, it's, you want to keep reading it. It's a page turner in a way. It's not boring, but I did actually start, my friend told me this would happen. I did start like laughing at one point, and I was like, what else is going to happen to this poor guy? Like, my God, anything you can think of that a person could have to endure in life, he endures. And also, I'm on page like 5 million, and I'm like, is there a plot yet? Like, I'm not quite sure. So I'm still reading that and Infinite Jest. And I don't know, a bunch of other books that I've just like started or paged through. I went to the library, I learned, does all these very cool, like, free presentations and lectures and stuff. But they're like cool people that do them. Well, we went to one this weekend that was called Beyond Hot Dogs and Pizza, Chicago Food.
Amazing.
And it was all about like traditional Chicago food. Most of it's from the South Side. All of it is amazing. I really want an atomic cake. So if anyone has ever had an atomic cake, which apparently are only available on the South Side, but it looks incredibly delicious. I also really want a rainbow cone, which apparently is also only on the South Side, and I have heard is mid, but it's so cool looking that I still want one. For the gram. But this woman was very cool. Her name was Monica Eng, E-N-G. I'll verify that. And she had written this book about all the Chicago food. And she was very fun and informative. And I liked the way she did her presentation. So all this to say, go to your local library.
Libraries are the best.
Check out these presentations that they're doing that are about hot dogs and other stuff.
Other topics as well. And, less important topics.
And others like such as. And then afterwards, she mentioned franchises, which are a Chicago staple. And she described them as a hot dog wrapped in bacon with an injection of cheese, which I thought was funny. And she's like, they are pretty gross. And I was like, indeed. She's like, they're very hard to find, though. And I raised my hand so that she would call on me so that I could be like, I had a franchisee last year because we did Year of the Hot Dog. And then I was like, what's the matter with you? This whole room doesn't need to know that you had a franchisee. Like, get yourself together. And we learned that one of the reasons why Chicago was such a hub for all this stuff is because of all the train lines that came through it, right? So then Chicago became just like a awesome place.
Trains are very cool.
Trains are cool. And this has been Brooke's Books. Thank you very much. I promise to read more books. I was busy watching a lot of movies and TV.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Readers, Brooke, and other distinguished guests, today we're finishing a journey that could be described as my own odyssey. In that it feels like a punishment from the gods, and it would be better with Anne Hathaway. Today we're finishing Dobson's trilogy of novels by discussing...
Godless. Is it going to be read?
Godless!
Yeah!
Published in 2014 by Dames Jobson and Kurt Brunner.
You said Dames Jobson?
Yep.
Okay, good.
That's how I wrote it.
Wait, why don't I ever call him Dame Jobson? That's pretty good.
This is the third in a series of novels, so there's a lot that has already happened. I recommend listening to our other 2 episodes to get caught up on the plot and the very many characters at play. To help Brooke keep track of the characters, and because I'm mentally ill, I have a board showing all the characters and their connections. You might recognize that this is a podcast and you cannot see what is going on.
I love this.
So if you do want to see the end result of this, you can check out our social media at I Hate James Dobson, most places.
Nice plug. Did you cross off all the dead people?
I sure did.
That's amazing. Wait, I want to make sure you clocked the front page of this book that says property of Roanoke County Public Library. And then under it, there's a stamp that says no longer property of Roanoke County Library.
Yep. Oh, I sure did.
We do not take credit for this. Okay.
By way of recap, Brooke will tell you the plot points that you missed.
Oh, for God's sake.
I had this written originally as, Brooke, what do you know about what the events have happened so far?
That's a second recording question where I'm like, shut up! By the first one, I'm usually still here. what I know so far is that we are in some sort of dystopian future, and we have something called Penelope pedestrians, and it is a concept where old people should just die, so that they can, don't say the word, transition their wares and goods and money to the next generation.
Yes.
So people are taking that. They're playing pretty fast and loose with that.
Yes.
It's run by dirty, filthy feminists with short skirts and not wholesome, wonderful.
And a long jacket.
We have a woman named Julia, and she was like, I'm a feminist, I'm a reporter, but secretly I'd like to get married and have babies. Because that's every woman's secret desire.
Which is true. It's just factual.
Absolutely. What do you think it'd be like if I had a fucking baby?
I think you'd be very good at it. I think you'd be a very different person.
I have some news for you. I would not be very good at it. Okay. Julia has married Troy. And Julia has a skanky sister, Monica. And Monica has a son named Jared. I have a feeling we're never seeing them again, so
correct.
Don't worry about them.
They are not characters in this book.
Great. Amanda is the child whose mother got Pacific Palisades away. Patasta passed away. And so now Amanda, because this is how adoption works, now Amanda belongs to Julia and Troy. They were like, well, we have a home. We'll take you in. Because Amanda's brother was a bad guy.
Yes. I took Austin off the chart.
Oh, okay. Her brother was Austin. He was a bad guy. Kevin and Angie, are they in this book?
Yes.
Oh, Kevin and Angie are a couple, and they are like the rebellious, wholesome religious couple.
Yes.
And he's trying to be somebody in the government.
He is a congressman. You were taking this way more seriously and you remember a lot more than I thought you would, so I'm very impressed.
Thanks.
He's a congressman.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Great. And then there's this guy named Evan, and he has a funny last name. What is it?
Dmitri.
Evan Dmitri. Vaguely kind of Russian name. And anytime anything bad happens and it's a mystery, he did it because he's the only bad guy in the entire book. Except for this guy, Matthew, who's kind of a bad guy, but he's more like a degenerate.
Very incel vibes.
Yeah, incel vibes. And he kind of like works for Evan or with Evan. Is he connected to Evan?
Not directly.
No, I should have looked. There's no string. Okay. Don't worry about Matthew. It's a lot of boring parts about bright spots. Nope, about...
Matthew kills his mom at the end of book one.
Wait, that's true.
Also, I didn't mention this last time. So one of the characters is Kevin.
Yeah.
One of the other characters who introduced in book two is Tyler.
Yeah.
Matthew's mom's name is Janet.
Oh my God. Where's Brad? We need Brad and Kelly. Do you know what I thought about the other day? Does anybody think that you and I are using fake names?
Good question.
Because we are. No, we're not.
I mean, it depends on what you count.
Or are we?
Or are we?
We're not.
Or
might be.
Or maybe.
That's right. Matthew kills his mom. Otherwise, he's kind of boring. And he had a doctor. What was it? Dr. Pastor? Father of doctor?
Dr. Thomas Vincent?
No, Reverend Grandpa. That's
Reverend Grandpa. Yes. Who's crossed out.
Yeah, he's crossed out. So that's about it. Oh, and the one thing I remember about these books is that right when the plot gets good, the book ends. And Jake will do a really good job of being like, and then, the end. And that is my favorite part.
This book is not much different. That was an incredible recap.
Thank you. This one, the house is broken.
It gets progressively more broken. I will splice parts of this together, but here's my recap that sets up enough information to dive into this. The story takes place in the US in the 2040s, where the old far outnumber the young. People more or less stopped having kids, and those that did were largely single women who had what some might call designer babies. To try to address the outsized cost of elder care, the government made an assisted suicide program called the Youth Initiative. The euphemism for assisted suicide is transitioning, because you transition your resource to a younger generation. Our story follows a group of people dealing with the personal and structural fallout in this setting. In book 1, we meet Kevin Tolbert, a Republican congressman from Colorado trying to end the youth initiative. His idea is called the Bright Spots Proposal, where he wants to encourage people to get married, have kids, and treat the elderly with respect and not murder them.
Did I see a comment on Instagram that was a real thing?
It was a real thing. The idea of like bright spots is like a real sociological thing. The most well-known first version of it was in Vietnam in like the 90s. People were like, hey, we want to find ways to help people live longer and not have kids die early. But instead of trying to like look at diseases, they instead looked at people who were really successful. What about these families that were the exception to the rule were they doing differently? They were bright spots in a dark place.
Oh.
And so Kevin Tolbert had the same approach here. Let's look, the whole country's suffering financially. Let's look at the places that are doing less so and what do they have? And just so happens they're the places that have more kids and less killing old people. Patasipass. I love that you refuse to gender it correctly.
Because why is it called that?
I could not tell you.
Who cares?
Also that. Kevin is married to Angie and they have 4 kids, which is kind of unheard of. His best friend and chief of staff is Troy Simmons. Our main character in book 1 was Julia Davidson, a feminist journalist. Julia was assigned to work on a story about the Bright Spots proposal to undermine its credibility right from the start. Her article is called The Breeders, an imagined slur for people who have more than 2 kids. However, after spending some time with Kevin and Angie, Julia realized that her whole life was a lie. In the end, she supports the Bright Spots proposal and becomes a Christian. In between books 1 and 2, she gets married to Troy, Kevin's bestie and chief of staff. Now they're together on the board. Our final character in book 1 is Matthew Adams, a loser incel with failed dreams of becoming a college professor because James Dobson hates college professors. Matthew's story focuses a lot on Manichaeism, a 3rd century religion that Dobson picked for no clear reason. Dobson defines Manichaeism as spirit good, body bad. At the end of book 1, he convinces his elderly mom with dementia to transition. He kills her because spirit good, body bad. In book 2, we meet Tyler Kane, former police officer turned private investigator. He's assigned to look into a series of increasingly threatening letters sent to Judge Victor Santiago.
Oh, yeah.
Who will decide a case about the future of Next Inc., the main company who does these assisted suicides.
Patasipass.
His primary suspect is Matthew Adams, who did indeed write most of these threatening letters. Matthew Adams is caught using Julia's sister, Maria, as bait. He has a big crush on her, it's a whole thing. But plot twist, the judge is killed when Matthew is being arrested, so he couldn't have done it.
So who did it?
The real culprit is Evan Dimitri.
The only bad guy in the whole book?
The bad guy, yes. Political megadonor and guy whomst runs Next Inc.
Okay. One thing we've both neglected to mention is that this book is also full of disgusting pornographic thoughts from James Dobson's head.
Book 2 especially is a very sexual book.
It's a very sexual book. And I hope you all got creeped out and shivery when we said that like that, because that is how it felt. Do I get to read another sex scene?
There's no sex. This is a much less horny book.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
I think James Dobson was horny in a different way when he wrote it, which we'll talk about.
There's no elegant knee-length skirt?
No. I didn't realize you'd be so disappointed about that.
I mean, it's just that if you're going to make a trilogy and we've branded this whole thing about it being horny, then what are we going to do?
The working title for this episode is James Dobson wrote a 3rd novel, but it's less horny, but more about eugenics.
Less porn, more eugenics. Oh, God. Okay, great.
In book 2, Julia and Troy, now married, come to realize that they both want kids. However, after learning that Troy is infertile, but he's never told that he's infertile, Julia and Troy adopt Amanda, a 12-year-old girl who is living with her stepbrother after he transitioned their mom. Before Matthew Adams is caught by Tyler, he gets a job as a live-in caretaker for an old man named Reverend Grandpa. Reverend Grandpa tries to teach Matthew the error of his ways. Matthew kills him too.
He transitions him, right?
I mean, transition has more of a like tone of it's in a medical facility and you get the Patasipass. This one he like was dying and Matthew just left him to die.
Oh, right. Okay. This is a good recap because the second book was the second recording of the night, and I gotta tell you, I was half asleep. So
no worries. Also, most of this is good information for this upcoming book. I weeded out a lot of bullshit.
Right.
Kevin Tolbert in book 2 has a series of long, boring lectures about the value of having kids in a congressional meeting. He does nothing all book, and he's very boring. I basically didn't talk about him last episode.
Great.
These books are an absolute mess. There are themes of assisted suicide, designer babies, feminism, and the old trustworthy trope, Dobson knows you better than you do, so he can tell you what you actually think and want.
Babies.
In part, Julia doesn't change to wanting kids. It's real she always secretly did want kids. And that's what you missed on Glee. On to Godless. We open August 3rd, 2044. There's roughly a year between each book.
Ooh.
The opening scene follows a 6-year-old girl, Veronica, as she and her parents make a cross-country trip to see her grandpa.
Uh-oh.
None of these characters are important, and they do not go on the board.
Okay, Grandpa doesn't get...
We'll wait and find out. When they get to Grandpa's place and no one answers, they let themselves in. Veronica, the 6-year-old, finds her grandpa's lifeless body in the bathtub, next to an empty vial of potassipass, the lethal injection serum. We are told, by way of very clunky exposition, that at-home transitions are starting. Quote, but somebody messed up on this one. They're supposed to alert us in advance that it's happening. They should have scheduled the pickup of the body to occur within 24 hours. That's the opening scene. It's interesting.
Every book opens with a dead grandpa or grandpa.
Every book opens with death. 2 of the 3 open with somebody dying. Book 2 opens with someone being threatened with death, who then later dies.
Okay.
This book has 2 main characters. Number 1, our good pal Matthew Adams.
Great.
After being arrested for his threatening letters, but let go for not doing murder, Matthew spent some time avoiding his trauma. He did this primarily through vices, spending lots of time in Reno on girls and booze. He finally found his footing, though. He even got a halfway decent job. Brooke, what do you think the job that Matthew Adams got following his jail and murders?
Fast food restaurant.
It's more prestigious than that. He's a salesman of sorts.
Oh.
He tells old people that their medical care is denied, and then pressures them to kill themselves.
Well, that seems like a good job for him.
He sells transitions.
Oh my god. He's good at that, though.
The book walks us through a regular day on the job. Quote, like every other prospective client on Matthew's caseload, Ellie Baxter did not fit the criteria established by the Youth Initiative for the funding of such an expensive medical procedure. So old lady needs medical care, and the government says, we're not funding it for you. Matthew tells her of this news and then says, quote, we received information from your primary care physician. Would you mind confirming the details before we ask you a series of questions? She read, then she nodded. Matthew says, great. Now let me scan the calendar for an opening. Ellie Baxter is concerned. An opening for what? For your pre-transition consultation appointment. We will go over all the legal and procedural details so you're comfortable with, and then Ellie cuts him off.
So he's like, you can't get medical care, so obviously you should just die.
Yeah.
Great.
He is very pushy. They take great pains to show that a lot of old people are not fully mentally there, and he takes advantage of that and says, so you're going to die now.
Matthew.
In this case specifically, though, the old lady, Ellie Baxter, does not go through with it. She tells him to leave and says, quote, young man, I think you misunderstand the real enemy. You seem to think that pain and suffering are the worst things imaginable, but the real enemy has nothing to do with what happens to my body. Our real enemy wants to devour the soul.
The devil.
Drama!
Is she talking about the devil?
She is talking about the devil. She also gives him a card with an invitation to schedule a free, quote, spiritual dialogue session at a local church.
So talking to a pastor.
Correct.
Okay.
And she does go on the board, and I mapped it out earlier.
Ellie Baxter.
Matthew has a new favorite place, a local sports bar.
What's the sports bar called?
It doesn't get a name.
What do you think James Dobson would name a sports bar?
Hoops.
That was so fast.
Well, my thinking was it has to be super basic
Uh-huh.
and kind of racist.
When you refer to the sports bar from now on tonight, please just call it Hoops.
Hoops.
Yeah.
While he's at Hoops one day, a man sits down next to him and strikes up a conversation. The man's name is Brian Quincy, or Maury.
Wait, what? What do you mean, Maury?
He goes by Maury.
Okay.
Reverend Grandpa. I don't know what to tell you.
What is... I need to know James Dobson's thought process on naming all these characters.
So the in-universe explanation is that his dad's name was Morrison. So when he was younger, he went by Little Maury. And now that he's an adult, he just goes by Maury. Do you know what Maury means in Latin?
Yeah, memento mori.
Means
death.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Is it memento mori? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Remember you will die.
Remember you will die. That's terrifying. Okay, that's now fully a pentagram.
It's missing like one side.
Mm-hmm. You know what I want to do with this yarn with you at the end is play Cat's Cradle. Do you think? Oh!
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue, and the man in the moon.
Oh boy, do you know how to play Cats in the Cradle?
I wasn't even trying to do that. I seriously thought we could maybe play Cat's Cradle. Oh God. Oh my God.
We both paused, shocked with joy.
Oh shit. Okay, good.
This is how Maury is described, quote, "The man had brown hair and a rich-looking beard containing much more gray than his crown or temples. Unlike Matthew's, his hair showed no trace of thinning. He appeared to have benefited from genetic screening."
So he's a good guy because he has good hair.
Well, his name's Death, so no.
Oh, got it. Okay, never mind.
Maury, also the way that you know he's a bad guy, Matthew teaches literature at the University of Denver because Dobson hates college professors. The conversation gets existential, and Maury tells Matthew to read The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky.
Mm-hmm. Karamazov.
Thank you. I had written down The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I literally have a pronunciation as a sticky note because I get it wrong every time.
We got Dostoevsky, right? So that's good.
And I know how to pronounce that correctly because of Katya.
Oh, yeah.
Lenin in the streets, Dostoevsky in the sheets. The Brothers Karamazov is a seminal work of literature about faith, atheism, suffering, and 19th century Russia. That is a real fact about this book. Shortly thereafter, Matthew gets a mysterious email from a lady named Serena Winthrop.
Serena Winthrop.
Serena says she's connected to Next and has a job that will, quote, "have a significant impact on this nation's ability to pull itself out of the present economic crisis." He takes the job. They meet at an airport. It's a whole thing.
So Matthew is selling potassium,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a professor?
No, Maury's the professor.
Oh, Maury's the professor.
Matthew wants to be a professor.
Got it. Okay.
That's why he killed his mom, so he could get the money to go to school.
That's right. Okay.
Our second main character is Pastor Alex Ware.
Okay. I feel like I used to know someone named Alex Ware. Alex Ware, if I know you and you're listening to this, tell me how I know you.
Alex is the head pastor of Christ Community Church. He's relatively new and young. It's where Julia and Troy go, although this is not really mentioned all that much. And he's a fucking cuck. His primary antagonists are the members of the church board. Quote, "Board members like their pastors calm and placid. His job was to model the Jesus who hugged innocent children, not the Jesus who chased money changers out of the temple." His main enemy on the board is a guy named Phil Crawford.
Did your cats bite this book and eat it? I think they did.
It's possible.
They did. It's so cute. Oh my God. Look at these little cat teeth marks.
They really like the plastic flaps.
Little cat marks. It's so cute. Look at it.
That's incredible.
That was Virgil.
Probably. Virgil's been a mess recently. He just sits at my feet while I'm trying to do therapy. He attacks them because he wants to play.
Oh my God.
I have to we're talking about your childhood trauma. I can't react to the cat.
Have a little string thing under there that you go like this with.
Alex's main enemy is Phil Crawford. He's very money focused. Quote, "We aren't that different from any other business. We provide a service and people reward us by funding our product." Our product? Our ministry then. The point is people pay the bills by transferring money from their pockets into ours. Whatever motivates or facilitates that transfer is, in short, our economic engine. Phil is running the church like a company, and that is bad. Phil accuses Alex of being too political. And of course, what Phil says is too political is just common sense to regular folks like to Alex. Quote, "We live in a generation that's forgotten what it means to honor mothers and fathers. We see our seniors as quick sources of capital to solve our economic woes, rather than what Proverbs calls them, a cherished source of wisdom. Phil remarks about this. Do you really think such blatantly political statements are appropriate from the pulpit? I mean, the Republican convention is later this month, for Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake.
Phil also says, criticizing the youth initiative is not only taking obvious sides between candidates, it also makes us sound insensitive to the economic troubles of our community. Phil is particularly focused on money because the church doesn't have any. Attendance has been down overall, and donations are pretty limited. They did just get a big influx of money, though. A congregant named Wayne Bentley recently transitioned, RIP, and left the church in his will. Fun fact, Wayne Bentley's granddaughter was the one who found his body. And the opening scene, wow, connections!
Whoa!
And it doesn't matter at all. Again, they're not on the board.
Oh my God.
Phil wants to encourage the congregation to consider adding the church to their transition plans. Alex is against transitions altogether and finds this distasteful. Alex has an assistant, Mrs. Mayhew, whose main characteristic is being bad at her job.
Oh, great.
She's described as, quote, lacking any of the skills essential in a competent assistant, and, quote, volunteered much more than just her time. She volunteered confidential information to anyone who might ask, and to those who didn't.
Mrs. Mayhew.
Her family calls her Dimples.
Dimples! I only want you to call her Dimples.
Unfortunately, I will not ever bring her up again because she's so one-dimensional. She also doesn't matter, but I love her.
Okay.
In the audiobook, the narrator does this crazy weird voice for her.
Dimples!
It is just like a sexist caricature of some church lady that James Dobson clearly had beef with.
Oh my God.
On this day, Mrs. Mayhew had neglected to inform Alex that he has a meeting with someone new.
Because she's bad at her job.
Because she's bad at her job. This is a recurring bit. I won't mention it anymore because it literally is. Alex has a meeting. Mrs. Mayhew didn't tell him. She's so bad at things.
Mrs. Mayhew.
This guy is cagey and gives an obvious fake name, Frank. Again, Mrs. Mayhew isn't plot relevant, but she's so one-dimensional even for this book. I needed to mention her. I love her. At the start of this conversation, Alex gives a disclaimer saying, quote, nothing I say should be perceived as binding, directive, or formal counseling. I'm licensed for neither. Which, I know this is a fictional character, but that's a better disclaimer than many biblical counselors we've talked about. Frank is very clearly Matthew.
Who's Frank?
The person meeting with Alex gives
Okay,
a fake
thank you.
name. It's very clearly Matthew.
Oh, I see. Okay. There's too many freaking people in these.
Yeah!
There's so many people.
And I trimmed it down.
And you took people off the board.
I took people off the board. I'm not mentioning so many. Julie's editor comes back in this. We're not mentioning him.
Did you buy this bulletin board to do this?
Yes, I did.
What's the matter with you?
Scientists have been asking that for years.
What's going on in your brain?
So Frank, meaning Matthew, and Alex talk a number of times throughout the book. Most of this book is a dialectic between Alex and Matthew and Maury. Alex is the good Christian guy, Maury is the bad atheist, and Matthew is caught in the middle.
Triangulation.
Yes. Maury tells Matthew to read just a portion of the brothers Karamazov.
Fuck.
Karamazov. I literally have the thing pulled up next to me.
Please leave all of these.
Alex encourages him to read the whole thing. What's Kevin up to? I hear you asking.
What's Kevin doing?
Lord knows he did fuck all last book. He's still doing fuck all.
Great.
At the start of the book, he's spending time with his parents, Jim and Gail.
Jim and Gail.
Jim and Gail Tolbert are Kevin's parents. It's mentioned that Jim pats Gail on the bum a bunch of times. Well, truly, whenever possible, it's seen as a sweet gesture. And I'm just being a hater, and that's okay. I hate it. It's gross. Don't do that.
Gross.
At the start of the book, we find out that Gail needs some medical care that got denied because she's old. Kevin is conflicted as to whether or not he should pull strings to help since he's a congressman. He doesn't.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff where, like, Kevin does this, and then nothing matters.
And then Kevin's like, I've had a change of heart. Let's get that pass.
Kevin's still on his bullshit with the Bright Spots proposal. He is very skeptical of Senator Josh Franklin, who's not on the board, who's assumed to be the next president. Franklin needs the votes of the breeders, whom Kevin represents, but so far he has not put any action into making the Bright Spots happen. Franklin did low-key offer Kevin...
So what you're saying is Kevin's done nothing.
Correct.
in any realm.
Correct. He starts book 1 by introducing the Bright Spots proposal and just stays
And
there.
then he never does anything again. Okay.
Franklin low-key offered Kevin a position at his cabinet, Secretary of Commerce, although it's not an official offer. Kevin's very skeptical of him and wants him to prove himself and wants him to take action. But Kevin gets word that Next, the assisted suicide company, is planning a new push of transitions, including those at-home ones.
Who's Franklin?
He's a senator that everyone assumes will be the next president, and like a Z plot in this book is that he begins his run for president.
Okay.
If this was a well-written book, it would be about him and his grappling with the political realities of this instead of just Kevin one-sidedly being like, do this, do this, do this. Whatever. Kevin decides that to get more pressure on Franklin to pass the Bright Spots proposal, he needs to ramp up public pressure. Kevin recruits Alex to help him. Alex writes a letter saying, "We Christians think suicide is bad," and tries to get other pastors on board. And basically no one does. And Alex is in big trouble for being political again.
Alex Ware. Ware?
Yeah.
I really think I went to college with someone named Alex Ware.
What about Julia? I can hear you clamoring for our favorite character, the
Yeah.
head bitch in charge.
In her elegant knee-length skirt.
She's struggling to be a mom.
Julia!
She feels tense, angry, insecure. You're just like every other mother on the planet, says Angie. I'm gonna be honest, this part of the story is boring as fuck.
Okay.
And
Because it's about women.
Because it's about women, and the writers clearly agree because they don't say much about it. There's not that many scenes of her trying to be a mom. There's like an extended scene of her in the mall trying to be like, don't wear that. It sucks. I hate it. Don't worry about it. Julia's dreams are back, though.
Oh no. Oh yeah, she got that guy's dreams, right?
Yeah. In book 1, she shared dreams of drowning/going to hell with Antonio Santos,
Yeah, right.
a kid with ALS who transitioned.
Yep.
After finishing her expose on the Bright Spots initiative called The Breeders and doing the right thing, her dreams stopped. But now they're back.
Oh.
Quote, what if this dream like the last was a twin? What if it suggested her life would once again overlap with another's? She had inherited Antonio Santos' nightmare long before meeting his brother or reading his journals, long before she would be hired to tell his story to the world, as if some unseen force had overlapped their dreams before connecting their lives.
I'm going to be really honest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I heard a single thing you just said. I went to a real internal place for a minute.
Do you... It's
No.
basic, okay.
I got it.
Cool. Heard.
Dreams.
Yep, they're back.
Okay.
Julie is offered a writing job by her old boss. He doesn't really know about her conversion to evangelicalism. The job is brainstorming how to sell this new push for the youth initiative, how to sell assisted suicides to the public.
Wait, what? Her old boss wants her to sell Potespas?
Yeah, it's like a marketing thing. Like,
Oh.
come up, like, how are we going to...
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
What's the slogan we're going to use?
Gotcha.
So kind of going undercover, especially to help Troy and Kevin be one step ahead of the meaty spin on transitions, Julia infiltrates the group. And who is there but her old rival, Monica Garcia?
Monica!
My queen. She is known, her main characteristic is being a whore. But
I thought that was Maria's main characteristic.
pretty much most women who Dobson doesn't like are
Gotcha.
sluts. But the only person who ever remarks about it is Julia, and mostly to herself.
Uh-huh.
So the interaction when Julia sees Monica in the room, she throws a fit, and her boss says, Monica has great instincts in the launch room, like the brainstorming place. And then to herself, Julie says, not to mention the bedroom.
Oh, Julia!
Julia's such a bitch.
Oh my God, Julia. Okay, girl.
The slogan they come up with is transition to a more peaceful passing. This is a plot cul-de-sac. Nothing comes from it. It's a huge waste of time.
A plot cul-de-sac.
Yeah, we get into it and it goes nowhere.
Amazing.
I mostly just wanted to mention Monica again. I like to think she's just a regular person who's like pretty nice. She's kind of hardworking as a journalist, but also has a pretty good work-life balance. She might sleep around some, but she's in her 20s. Let her have it.
Yeah.
None of that's canon. None of that's in the book, but it is true to me.
My God.
I have been thinking about these books for far too long.
I love Monica. Wait, who's Serena?
Serena is the person who gave Matthew a mysterious job.
Oh, right. Okay.
See, these are all the threads at play. Matthew's new job being one of them. Alex being too political. Kevin's still fucking talking about the Bright Spots proposal. And
Get over
Julie
it,
is also
Kevin.
there.
Okay.
The main story, though, is Matthew's. Matthew's new job is being a transition companion for those dying at home. After they sign up, he's the one who goes to their house, injects the potassipass, and makes sure that they are dead.
Ew.
His new job is to be an executioner.
Yeah.
Other people dispose of the body, though, don't worry. It's a new and experimental role. So to protect his identity, Matthew is given a new pseudonym for each case. Serena gives him information about who signed up, their name, when to go. He goes, kills them. When he introduces himself, he gives a pseudonym. And Matthew feels awful about this job.
He does?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he'd like it.
I mean, he feels conflicted about killing all these people so far and like really tries to justify it to himself. The first old lady he kills is also suffering from some kind of memory loss. She doesn't remember making the appointment. At one point, she forgets she lets Matthew into the house. She clearly doesn't know what's going on.
Oh my God.
Matthew presses on anyway and kills her.
Oh my God.
Or rather, he frees her from her suffering because spirit good, body bad. He goes to the bar that night, hoops, to process his technically not crimes. He tries to justify them to himself, and Maury shows up again and gives him more encouragement to stick with it.
Is Maury gonna be the devil in disguise?
Interesting hypothesis. Racked with guilt, Matthew starts having nightmares, quote, drifting away from the shadowy form of a man, sinking beneath the surface, a hideous laughter prompting a frantic effort to resurface. Then, just before losing all hope, envisioning a way to thwart his own demise, or at least delay it, drowning panic became dreadful resolve. He could offer others in his place. But now, something new, something darker. In prior years, the vague others had been murky phantoms flailing their arms and legs near the surface, nameless ghosts he could substitute for himself. But this time, they had faces. The faces appeared asymmetrical, a bit like religious icons he had seen of Jesus or the Virgin Mary. Only they weren't the faces of Savior or saints. They were the faces of Matthew's first 3 transition clients.
Uh-oh.
Was God trying to say something? Don't be ridiculous, Matthew scolded himself. He no longer believed in God. And even if he did admit to a faint inkling of possibility, Matthew had no intention of listening to the one who had ruined his life. What about the devil? A sadistic, bellowing laughter in the dream had curdled Matthew's blood, like that of a trapped fly sensing a thirsty spider's approach.
Did you write that, or did James Dobson write that?
I believe Kurt Bruner wrote that, yes.
Wait, can we just take a minute to imagine these writing sessions? Where clearly James Dobson being like, and then how about, and then Matthew, and Kurt Bruner is just
and
like,
love must be tough.
Yeah, and Kurt Bruner just sitting there with a cup of coffee, like, how did I get this job? Just like to remind everybody that the Babysitters Club also had a ghostwriter.
Well, this isn't a ghostwriter. He's named. Just the font is like half the size.
I know, that's true.
In case it was not clear, Matthew's nightmares are Julia's nightmares.
Yep.
That's who she's linked to.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah.
I know you get that. And readers, I know you get that. But James Dobson doesn't trust his audience, so it's spelled out explicitly.
What is Julia's deal with being able to get other people's dreams?
It's never explained.
That feels very like witchy for someone who's evangelical.
It sure does. It's never explained.
What? It's not?
No.
What? It seems like a big thing to not address.
It sure does. One night, Matthew invites Maury back to his place. And the first thing Maury does is light up a cigarette.
What?
This time, Maury is more direct and controlling. He admonishes Matthew for saying, I guess, in the conversation, forcing him to decide what he believes then and there. They debate about the nature of humanity and good and evil and blah, 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 blah. And then Maury says, I know the real reason you wanted to talk. You still feel guilty about what you did to your mom. Don't. And he's been worried about what happened with Reverend Grandpa, the old gas bag. And when you freed Breonna Jackson from that trash bin of a prison she called home, excellent work on that one, the old gal needed someone to push her past her confusion so she could finally do what was best for everybody. Matthew never told Maury about any of these details.
Wait a minute. How did Maury know?
Matthew starts freaking out. Maury gets even darker. He does the sign of the cross upside down and tells Matthew, all things are permissible, so go and believe in sin no more, which is an bastardization of Jesus, go and sin no more.
Yeah, not to be confused with Sleep No More, the interactive production in New York City.
I don't know why that took me out. That's so funny.
Well, Maury's the devil.
Quote, the man's voice broke into laughter that sounded like the low rumble of thunder mixed with a lion's threatening growl. Matthew felt the same streak of terror he'd felt at his nightmares, crackling summons. His eyes darted to the clock, which was now finally legible. It read 3:36 a.m. Then he glanced toward the leather chair. No Maury. Just a vacant space formerly occupied by whatever phantom had invaded Matthew's dozing psyche. So was Maury the devil?
Yes.
It's a mystery! Don't worry, they'll give you a real answer a little bit later.
Well, his name's Death. And he made an upside down cross.
As Matthew attempts to recover, he gets his next assignment. In this one, he's given a pseudonym, A Manichean. He freaks the fuck out. He started putting the pieces together. He was framed for the murder of a judge in the next case. The real killer was never found. He was contacted to kill people by Next. It appeared that the person who had framed him for murder had also hired him to kill. After some hemming and hawing, he decides not to quit his job. Matthew later returns to Hoops, the bar, where he ogles women. Quote,
he's ogling women now in the middle of this whole crisis?
Yep.
Okay.
Quote, Matthew looked at his pretty waitress, this time noticing a cute face. She reminded him a bit of Maria Davidson back in their high school days.
Oh boy.
He let her eyes move down to enjoy the rest of the view.
Ew.
There is a time in which he would have been timid about such blatant ogling, a carryover from catechism classes and once intact chivalry. But the girl's skimpy uniform had made him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Ew. She did not make him an offer. Ew. And James Dobson using words like ogling. He's just been an old man his whole life.
Yes. Maury walks in, the real Maury. And Matthew isn't sure what he experienced the night before, chalking it up to a dream.
Devil Maury.
Maury again encourages Matthew to stay with the job, positively comparing him to the Nazis. So that's our Nazi reference.
Well, we gotta have a Nazi reference. Wait a minute. Please tell me there's gonna be a character named Brenda.
These are all of them characters.
No.
I wish.
What a missed opportunity. Okay, go on.
When Matthew looks up after the speech where he's positively compared to a Nazi, he is horrified when he sees the waitress. Quote, it was from a nightmare. Rotting flesh clung limply to the skull, peppered with sparse strands of filthy grayish blonde hair. Her body, still vivacious, now carried a head more suited to a cemetery haunt than a one-night stand.
Wait, so she's a hotbod with a corpse head?
With a corpse face. That's what he sees. And then Maury says to him, you're not going to quit that job. Do you understand me, Matthew Adams? Our research isn't quite finished yet, and you have a very important part to play. Matthew screams and closes his eyes. When he reopens them, the waitress and Maury are looking normal, just staring at him for screaming. Freaking out again, Matthew runs away out of the restaurant. As he's running down the street, he realizes he's being followed by a limo. He tries to outrun him, but it's no use. When he's cornered, the door opens, and out steps Serna Winthrop. She convinces him to get in the car, where another man sits. Quote, a tailored suit that lay in perfect symmetry across the man's broad shoulders, with a deep blue tie adding just the right detail of authority to his white French-cuffed shirt. Despite the posh package, however, the man seemed gruff. His stern eyes and solid jawline reminded Matthew of an annoyed pit bull groomed for show.
This writing is fucking terrible.
This man is Evan Dimitri.
Oh, no! Evan Dimitri.
Quote, panic choked Matthew's speech as he realized he was facing the man behind Judge Santiago's assassination. Evan threatens Matthew with blackmail, showing him secret footage of his at-home transition work so far, clearly implying, like, if you don't do these jobs, we're going to frame you for murder. After watching it, Matthew says, this means I committed murder, and so did you. Matthew's given his next assignment then and there. 2 names this time, and it's to be done tonight. Thankfully, the driver of this limo will assist him in the venture. The driver is Maury!
No! Bum, bum, bum! This is getting so very stupid.
Now I have to make a lot more connections. Give me a second.
This is silly. All right, Kurt, listen up. The guy in the car is Evan, okay? And guess who the driver is? Maury.
Oh my god. Your impression, I think, is missing the copious amounts of cocaine that I feel like were involved. It's like, all right, so it's, the driver is Maury, and Evan's there, and so is Serena.
Wait, James Dobson on coke is my new favorite character. Okay, it's like love, and it's like love must be tough. You know what I mean? Because it is tough. All right, okay, yeah, and also, dear discipline. You know what I mean, Kurt? Can I call you Kurt? KB.
Well, my name is Kurt, so yes.
Yeah, all right. Listen, KB.
Unfortunately, we're not done quite yet with a connection because Matthew was given 2 names to kill, and the people he was told to kill are Jim and Gail Tolbert.
Oh no. I knew those olds couldn't be hanging out there like that for too long. Have we had any connection between these two sides of the board yet in this kind of way? Not really.
Not as directly.
Okay.
The closest we got was Matthew being really obsessed with Maria.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And Matthew doesn't know this, but it's very clearly an attempt to take down Kevin's Bright Spots proposal.
Of course.
Maury and Matthew are told to go kill Jim and Gail Tolbert. The attack is unsuccessful and happens off screen.
What?
It is the most dramatic part of this entire story, and we only hear about it in passing.
What are you talking about?
Literally, here's the assignment. Cut to...
We failed.
Yeah, cut to Kevin getting a phone call about, hey, your parents got attacked in their hospital, they're okay.
Oh my god, okay.
Jim fights off the 2 men with a work boot, and Matthew flees in fear.
What?
Jim and Gail are taken to the hospital to assess their injuries, although they are totally fine.
Oh, good.
The local detective calls Kevin to let him know what happened, and that detective is Tyler Kane!
Welcome back, Tyler.
Now we need to connect Tyler to all of this mess. Frank, meaning Matthew, runs to Alex to confess, but he's unsure what to say. He quickly runs away again, but promises to return shortly.
Who cares?
At the same time, Julie is contacted by an anonymous source promising, quote, a major news story. Who killed Judge Victor Santiago? Julia is instructed to go to the church. Julia and Alex arrive together, and then Frank calls them. He does so over the phone because he's more comfortable in a confession booth without seeing their faces, he says. Frank tells his story and confesses. He names both Maury and Evan Dimitri. Julia knows Evan, quote, my husband has met him. He's a power player behind Franklin's campaign.
I'm the only bad guy in town.
The only bad guy. Isn't that convenient? Just one. Frank confesses to doing these at-home transitions and to attacking Jim and Gail Tolbert. Quote, I didn't kill them, I promise. The old man attacked us. That's when I realized the assignment was a sham. I ran. Maury, he's the killer, not me. I did nothing wrong. I'm a victim. I just did what I was told. Julia felt a rising nausea. That's what the Nazis said. 2 Nazi references.
I just love it when it comes like a surprise. It just comes jumping out from around the corner sometimes.
Yeah, Nazis.
Nazis.
Julia and Alex quickly put the pieces together and realize that it's fucking Matthew Adams.
Duh.
They tell Tyler, and he's now a cop again, and so then they go on to arrest Matthew Adams. Matthew, in the meantime, goes back to his old college and goes to the room of Dr. Thomas Vincent. There's a reason he was still on the board.
Oh.
Matthew leaves a letter on his desk. Quote, it held a note blaming Thomas Vincent for the descent into darkness, which the man's lectures, writings, and charts propelled. Despite years of mental gymnastics, Matthew felt the gravitational weight of a reality his mutinous spirit had been trying to flee. A truth expressed in creeds he had recited as a boy, yet rejected as a man. There is a God, so all things are not permissible. Father Tomberlin had been right, just like Reverend Grandpa and, more recently, Pastor Ware. They believed that every human being carried dignity as the one made in the image of God. People are not debits.
People are not what?
Debits.
Debits?
Like a drain on society.
Oh, uh-huh.
They believed that God himself had taken on human flesh. The body is not bad. They believed Christ had come to redeem what had been lost and restore what had been damaged. That he had come to conquer death, Maury, not embrace it. Matthew rejects Manichaeism and accepts that, like everyone, he is a Christian.
Yeah, we're all secretly Christians inside.
According to James Dobson. Matthew is then arrested by Tyler Kane, again off-screen. Pastor Alex Ware is asked to resign from being the pastor because he was too political. There is an entire subplot that we have not gotten into, that the church is being sued because someone felt that Alex, by being too political, encouraged people not to transition, which means the guy didn't get the inheritance that he was expecting because he wanted to kill his mom. It's so stupid.
Dumb.
Given that he was going to resign, Alex gives a fiery sermon on Sunday. Quote, Alex delivered the kind of message that he should have preached long before. Rather than indirect, vague references to respect elders, he told the congregation what they needed to hear. That volunteering for the youth initiative is not heroic, it's suicide. Coaxing parents to volunteer is not a prudent financial move, it's a violation of the 5th, 6th, and 10th commandments. Remaining silent in the face of evil is not pastoral sensitivity, it's implicit consent. After the sermon, there's an emergency board meeting. The person who sued the church was there, but so was his mom, who didn't die. And his mom is Ellie Baxter.
What?
The old lady from the very start of the book who Matthew couldn't convince to kill herself.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie says she made the decision without Alex's influence. The lawsuit is void. She also changed her will so that the church will get some of her estate when she dies, a natural death, and her son will get none of it. However, she stipulates that the church will only get the money if Alex stays on as pastor. Alex says he'll only stay on, quote, if the board agrees unanimously to sign a statement of belief, a statement affirming the dignity and worth of every human life, from conception to natural death, and clarifying that it will be the official position of Christ Community Church to oppose the transition industry. Phil resigns, Alex stays on as pastor. A political pastor. The book ends backstage at the Republican National Convention. Julia is our last point of view character, as they all wait backstage for Kevin's speech. Kevin gets to give a speech at the RNC. Josh Franklin, the Republican presidential candidate, promises that he gets to give a speech to build support for the Bright Spots initiative. That's like the only thing that Kevin accomplishes in 3 books. And honestly, it is a nothing scene.
Okay.
If it were not the last scene in the book, I would not mention this scene at all. Literally, it's the backstage being like, wow, this is crazy. There is an epilogue.
Is it Maury?
Nope. The epilogue is a transcript of Kevin's convention speech.
What? That's so boring.
It's so boring. It's also the trilogy summarized, but I also mean plagiarized. Passages from previous books are recited in full, such as, for decades, every segment of the population, including the once fertile immigrants, had fallen far below replacement levels, etc., etc. It ends with the hallmark message, quote, we must not forget that greatness is shown when we defend the weak and protect the vulnerable. Strength and growth are byproducts of bearing and raising the young, not pillaging and sacrificing the old. We become a virtuous people when we give to the poor and treasure the weak. And the very last sentences of the whole series, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. The end.
Awful.
Ah! My note here is barf.
Awful. That was a hell that you dragged me through, like Maury the devil man. And I hated all of it.
I am so tired of these fucking books.
My biggest takeaway from this entire series is, did I go to high school with a guy named Alex Ware? I think I did.
We can check Facebook.
Yeah, if you're like in your mid to late 40s and you're from the Midwest, like Wisconsin or Illinois, you just reach out. And I'm so glad we never have to talk about any of it ever.
Well, we have more conversation today, but yes.
Do we?
We're going to talk about the themes because this is an 8th grade book report.
Oh my God.
Before we talk about like an analysis, let's just start with these books are bad. Not just morally. They're not written well. I'm glad there was like kind of a plot to this one. The first one, I really worked hard to try to talk about what happened in the book. So much of it isn't about the plot. It's about the dialectics. Matthew and Alex talk so much about the nature of good and evil, as do Maury and Matthew, and that's really what this book is about. I hate to be CinemaSins about it, but there are a lot of plot holes that really frustrate me. The judge dying is weird and confusing. They mention a couple times that he was going to rule in favor of Next, so I don't know why Evan Dimitri would have had him killed.
Yeah.
In this book, there's a recurring bit that when Julia mentions her dreams, she also mentions having a vague sense of dread about Kevin's baby Leah, who has Fragile X syndrome. But it doesn't mount to anything. Nothing bad happens to her.
Oh.
She's never really in danger. The closest thing we get to any kind of like connection is at one point, Angie's called to make sure Leah's okay, and then Leah says her first word. Which is neat, sure, but that's not connected to the fear that Julia has, which leads nowhere. Editing Jake here. In a previous episode, I said that Fragile X syndrome causes autism. That is incorrect. I was wrong. It is a separate thing. They are comorbid, so a lot of people with Fragile X syndrome also have autism, but they are separate conditions.
Julia's dreams also mean nothing.
Yes, the dreams.
And they don't help her do anything. Or
No.
contribute to anything. Does she even realize they're other people's dreams?
Yes.
How?
She tells Alex, her pastor, about her dreams, and he says, that's weird that another person's telling me about the dreams.
Okay.
It means nothing. There's a reason I didn't mention it. It's like a very nothing scene. Also, why did Julia have to go to the conference with Monica?
Yeah, what's the point of Monica at all?
Don't get me wrong. I'll take any mention of my queen I can get, but it literally meant nothing.
Right.
It's like the only time it's mentioned that she's a journalist, who does anything journalisty. And the same thing happened in book 2, right? She was a journalist who's going to write about bright spots and dark spots, and that's how she got connected to Amanda. But it's not really about her being a journalist. It's her job means nothing after book 1. Dobson wants you to think that he's very smart.
Yeah, always.
The book, The Brothers Karamazov.
Karamazov.
I'm going to write it.
Now I'm feeling like I'm not saying
No, you're right. Karamazov.
You're going to leave every single one of those in as your punishment.
Probably. The book, The Brothers Karamazov.
He said the brook.
Whatever. It plays a central role in this book. Matthew reads sections of it, which are included in the book, and it's talked about multiple times. It's like the meta text of this book. It's basically about the problem of good and evil, both the book, The Brothers Karamazov,
Good job.
and this book. Moria says, quote, evil exists so God doesn't or is bad. Alex says, I don't know why God allows suffering, but in the meantime, I know that something's wrong with the world, something only a good God can fix. In the actual book, The Brothers Karamazov, is considered one of the greatest works of literature out there, and it is well beyond the scope of this podcast and my knowledge to explain all of the themes and what it's trying to say. Brooke, have you ever read it? Do you know anything about it?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Do you want to talk about what it's about?
No, I
okay.
did never read it.
I read the Wikipedia article on it a couple
Okay.
times, so I feel like I'm pretty well versed in it. It is an anti-atheist and anti-socialist work. Dostoevsky writes about one of the sections that his intent was to portray, quote, the seed of the idea of the destruction of our time in Russia among the young people is uprooted from reality. The seed is depicted as, quote, the rejection not of God, but of the meaning of his creation. Socialism has sprung from the denial of the meaning of historical reality and ended in a program of destruction and anarchism. So you can see why Dobson liked the book. But it is more than just a plot point. In some ways, Godless is Dobson's fanfic of The Brothers Karamazov. Dobson hits a number of similar plot points. Most notably to me, Ivan Karamazov, one of the brothers, experiences a hallucination of the devil. And after this hallucination, among other tragic factors, Ivan becomes completely incapacitated due to a nervous breakdown. He loses his mind. Matthew's experience is a clear parallel. All the shit with Maury being the devil, that's what's going on here. But with like a happy-ish ending. Matthew doesn't have a nervous breakdown at the same level, and even though he's arrested, he's able to confess to his crimes and maintain a pastoral relationship with Alex. This is not me reading into things. The book draws this parallel explicitly. Alex and Matthew talk about that scene in the book, and Alex says, quote, have you had conversations with the devil, Frank? Something, Alex sensed, had been torturing his guest that could not be perceived with mortal eyes. An apparition? Possibly. Madness? Perhaps. Both manifestations of the same age-old disorder. But while The Brothers Karamazov is one of humanity's great works of literature, this book is a piece of garbage, who I'll most remember for inspiring me to create the phrase bullied at the circle jerk.
Bullied at the circle jerk.
This book is not complex or nuanced. The philosophical points that Dobson wants to make it about are painfully clear, and by making 3 fucking books about it, becomes incredibly overwrought. He doesn't trust his audience. He has to spell out every allusion, every reference, every mystery. We also need to talk about Manichaeism for a bit. I described it as a 3rd century heretical cult, which is like kind of true. It's also how Dobson talks about it. Have you ever heard the term before this, Manichaeism?
No.
I hadn't either, and now I hear it multiple places, which I find
Really?
interesting. Yeah. So in book 1, it serves as Matthew's justification for killing his mom. He boils it down to spirit good, body bad, which like isn't technically incorrect, but it's a very limited view. It'd be like telling someone that Christianity is about God killing kids with bears because they made fun of a bald guy. Like technically that is part of it, but it's really missing the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Manichaeism taught that there is an eternal conflict between good and evil, dualism. That is central to Manichaeism. Nowadays, when someone describes something as Manichaean, they usually mean an oversimplified view of complex choices. They mean black and white thinking. It's all good or all bad. Which is like Dobson's whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's about fundamentally good and fundamentally bad things. Kevin is such a boring character, partly because he doesn't do anything, and partly because he has nowhere to grow. He's fighting the right fight. He doesn't learn anything. He's just good all the time. Evan does nothing good. He's just fundamentally bad. He has no arc. I do not know why Dobson picked this philosophy to be his boogeyman. I was unable to find any real reference to it. There is some weird videos online of evangelicals and some Catholics talking about Manichaeism the same way. Like they default to spirit good, body bad. But I don't understand what they mean by it. I was unable to find anyone who's able to talk about it in any meaningful way. Like, where do you see in secular culture the idea of spirit good, body bad? If anything, I'd imagine Dobson's critique would be opposite. Body good, spirit bad. Do whatever you want because you're not going to go to heaven. But that's not what he says. I don't get it. He's stupid and wrong. I think part of it is to help Christians reclaim sex. To say proudly that the best sex you have is the kind you have with your wife.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like he's trying to say something more with it, but I don't know what he's trying to say. Right?
Let's write to him and ask.
Well, it could go to Morey first. I don't know what real world parallels exist. It's not like an abortion analog. People don't say they're freeing a fetus from existence. Although maybe it should. That's metal as fuck. That's cool. It clearly is some like deep niche conspiracy reference that I don't understand. It feels like trying to understand a proto-QAnon person. It's a poorly defined conspiracy with random, misunderstood esoteric influences hiding behind every corner. I put these two things together, Manichaeism and the brothers Karamazov, because I think that Dobson just picked these to try to sound smart. Also, let's talk about the titles, Fatherless, Childless, and Godless. They don't relate to the plots.
At all.
At all. In the author's note, this is the only author's note written by Kurt Brunner, by the way. The other two were written by Dobson. I don't know what to make of that.
He's like, help, let me out. Come save me, please. I don't know where I am.
This is what Kurt Brunner says. In Fatherless, we explored one of the causes of why the society is messed up. Men neglecting the honor and responsibilities of paternity. In Childless, we asked what happens when sex is severed from the life-giving joys of maternity. And in the final installment, Godless, we confront the chilling implications of Dostoevsky's claim that without God, all things are permissible. But that's not what the plot of the books are about. Book 1 is not really about being fatherless. Julia and Matthew are fatherless, but it's not like a motivation. They don't really spend time talking about it in a meaningful way. Book 2 is like not really about being like Julia and Troy are childless, and part of their motivation is to adopt Amanda. That's not the main plot.
Well, that's like a little side plot.
It's such a side plot. The main plot is Matthew, and is he going to kill the judge or not? And that has really nothing to do with being childless at all. The only thing that feels relevant are the sex scenes. But even then, it's all married Christian people talking about how good married sex is. It's not really giving a warning about what happens when sex is severed from the life-giving joys of maternity. I guess you could make a case for the plot of this being about a godless society, but that just feels so broad that you could really put anything into it.
I feel like the first book should have been called Godless.
They should just all be one book called Godless.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's important to note that these books all came out within like 18 months of each other. The first two were published in the same year, and this was published the year after that. It feels to me that Dobson wanted to get a trilogy out and didn't really spend any time fleshing out the differences between them. It was all just kind of like one story jumbled together and kind of haphazardly put into 3 sections. Now that we have the whole story, as fucked up and messy as it is, what was Dobson trying to say? I have 3 things. 1, Christianity on the decline for refusing to be political. I haven't focused on it thus far because it's not super relevant to the plot, but Dobson talks a decent amount about churches in this society, and it's fascinating to me. In the world of these books, it's in such a sorry state because we have abandoned God, he argues. When Julia first goes to a church in book 1, we get this description, quote, "It possessed all the markings of a traditional East Coast church circa 1950, when the iconic Billy Graham had dominated headlines and personified the growing evangelical movement. Countless fire and brimstone sermons must have been heard between these walls before the Protestant congregations found a new audience, using a simpler, more user-friendly message about God's love, man's sin, and Christ's gift to all willing recipients. The church, like so many others, had suffered a gradual death during the years when another style of evangelicalism took center stage. Before the turn of the century, pianos and organs lost ground to guitars and drums. Pulpit-pounding appeals were replaced by conversational teaching. Hardwood benches, like the one Julia occupied now, had been replaced by padded theater seats in front of large screen projection units. The style had created the largest congregation in Christian history by appealing to the huge baby boom population during its child-rearing years. The early 21st century had seen churches from various denominations in every large city boast weekly attendance in the thousands or tens of thousands. But that movement also died when a new generation of kids started yawning at their parents' favorite songs and teachers. That's happening today, I can hear James Dobson yelling in the direction of Kurt Brunner. Reverend
powder right under his nose.
Yeah. Reverend Grandpa. Oh, wow. That fucked me up.
Oops.
Reverend Grandpa chastises Matthew on point by saying, "I'm not talking about catechism classes. I'm talking about Bible preaching, song singing, amen, shouting church, where people give the testimony of how God saved them from hell and damnation by his grace-given love." And I mentioned this quote from book 3, especially before, but Alex is told his job was to model the Jesus who hugged innocent children, not the Jesus who chased money changers out of the temple. Dobson warns that churches are worried about being too nice, and by focusing on mass appeal, they will fundamentally lose everybody. And worse, they'll stand for nothing. Because the Southern Baptist Convention is known for being agreeable and not stubbornly hateful. It's this weird disconnection of he's worried churches are being too soft, despite the fact that they are just digging into their bigotry more and more and more.
That's really interesting, but I stopped listening because I've been analyzing your handwriting.
Interesting.
You do the same thing I do, which is sometimes you print and sometimes you write. Writing means cursive. Sometimes your J's are cursive and sometimes they're print. And Julia is in print, but Janet is in cursive.
Interesting. I don't think that is cursive. You're correct. That is objectively what it is, but that is not the intention when writing it.
Jeremy over there? Who's Jeremy? Jeremy's in cursive.
This idea of churches is most clearly distilled in book 3. There's a conversation between Ellie Baxter, the old lady who Matthew couldn't convince to kill herself, and Pastor Alex. Ellie's husband founded the church that Alex now leads, and she tells this very sad story. Quote, "We had a campus in downtown Denver that my husband launched in partnership with a homeless shelter. He raised enough money from our main campus to build a small chapel and a medical clinic where a few of our members, who are doctors, volunteered to help AIDS patients 1 day per week. A homeless man approached my husband as if he wanted to shake his hand or ask for a prayer or something. But instead, he walked right up to Frederick and spat in his face before calling him a pretty filthy name.
Oh, no.
You see, it was right in the middle of a big brouhaha over whether the state should redefine marriage, gay marriage. What made the man so angry was that my husband signed a public affirmation. A network of pastors sent it to the governor asking him to defend the right to describe marriage as the union of one man and one woman. My husband lost his ministry because he tried to affirm the sanctity of marriage. Offerings dipped after someone floated a ridiculous rumor that some of the money given to the AIDS clinic had found its way into Frederick's Christmas bonus. Young people stopped inviting people to our church, afraid their pastor might embarrass them by saying something homophobic. Frederick never said or did anything to hurt anyone in his life, but that didn't matter. He had the label, hateful, and that's all it took for the board to disregard a decade of impact and quietly suggest he take a generous severance package." Ellie Baxter's husband is the James Dobson stand-in in this series. How much have we talked about why Dobson left Focus on the Family?
Because they were getting too progressive, right?
Kind of. It's probably worth a deeper dive at some point because it's a lot of interpersonal drama and workplace politics, but generally, the board of Focus on the Family thought Dobson was getting too specifically political and especially antagonistic. They wanted someone who could go on like a talk show or the news and not like freak out, basically. They said that Dobson, or they kind of implied that Dobson was distracting from the real work of Focus on the Family. Clearly, James Dobson was still really upset about all of this here. This entire section reads as a not very subtle subtweet at Focus on the Family. Again, these came out 2013, 2014. He left Focus in 2009 and 2010. It's not that long after. And of course, Dobson never saw himself as hateful. Quote, but that didn't matter. He had the label. And that's all it took for the board to disregard a decade of impact.
There we go. I see.
When Dobson is railing against polite Christianity, or whatever he wants to call it, it's not a theological argument. He's angry that he has less power than he used to, because he's always right. Him not having power means the world will fall to Satan or something. That's theme 1. Theme 2, government bad, government healthcare worse. Conservatives like Dobson fucking hate the federal government. There are many ways to look at why, but many of them relate to the idea that the government takes away power from people like Dobson and helps too many people, helps the wrong people. Like, literally, that is a big part of their belief. The idea of welfare queens, which is super racist, is not only that the government is helping people who don't deserve it, but that people will get lazy and dependent on government handouts and will not have to work and toil and suffer like they should. If I could sum up all of Dobson's ideas, it would be, you deserve to suffer. It's a very implicit part of this fictionalized world, but they have universal healthcare in this world. Here's Ellie Baxter talking about it in that same section I read earlier. Quote, neither of you are old enough to remember this, but medical treatment wasn't always considered the domain of the state. We couldn't pray in schools or place our hands on Bible in courtrooms, but the church would still care for those without medical coverage. Conservatives like Dobson think that charity should be the sole domain of the church. Out in the real world, it's survival of the fittest, and if you want to help people, work at a church, not in government. The plotline, especially in Godless, about people being denied care and then killed, is lifted right out of a 2010s conspiracy theory Facebook shitpost. Brooke, how much do you remember about the passage of the Affordable Care Act and the discussion around that at the time?
Controversial.
Yes. Does the phrase death panel mean anything to you?
Death panel?
Death panel.
Yeah, I do remember this, but I don't know exactly what it was.
It is a older conspiracy theory, but it found new life in this. The Affordable Care Act very quickly was a big healthcare bill passed by Obama in 2010. It is deeply imperfect, but people like Dobson hate it mostly because a black president did communism or whatever. They're racial, and it is really hard to overstate how much electing a black president really broke the brains of a lot of people.
Yeah.
And their racial animus sought validation in every dark crevice of the human psyche, especially conspiracy theories. One being the idea of death panels. It's not new, but it provided an outlet, a validation that many racists were looking for. An article from NPR credits Sarah Palin for coining the phrase death panel this go around. Her Facebook post, because of course it was a Facebook post, read in part, "The America I know and love is not one in which my parents or my baby with Down syndrome will have to stand in front of Obama's death panel so his bureaucrats can decide based on subjective judgment of their level of productivity in society."
What?
The idea is that if the government funds healthcare, money isn't infinite, so they'll have to decide who gets healthcare, who is worthy of healthcare, and they will decide it upon ideas of like who's worthy, who's productive or not. I don't know if you know this, Brooke, but the Affordable Care Act passed, and we do not, in fact, have death panels. In fact, we have something worse. Insurance companies. Mm-hmm. We literally have people right now being denied coverage for reasons just as bullshit as their level of productivity for society. That they're poor. And if you're poor, you better fucking hope a GoFundMe takes off for you if you need any kind of medical care. And that is the future that conservatives want. They think that that is good because the issue to them isn't that people are being hurt, it's that the wrong people are being hurt. When was the last time you heard about an evangelical writing hard for Medicare for all, for instance, or universal healthcare generally? It would be tragic if Sarah Palin's child with Down syndrome was denied healthcare. But there are currently so many kids with Down syndrome who are unable to access healthcare because putting a profit motive in a field that's a human right is fundamentally an evil thing to do.
There's also, I don't know a single person in my entire life who hasn't hit some kind of insurance wall that has caused them great pain or trauma or whatever, including myself, including you.
Yes.
And as therapists, I think one thing we know is that it is a privilege to receive mental health care. That is just considered like a luxury. Oh, that's so infuriating.
This whole plot of the government is killing old people because they aren't productive enough is a racist old white man's paranoid dystopian wet dream. And that is this entire series. The main theme of this book, I don't think was intentional, but it's I'm old and scared and now it's your problem. From the outset, Dobson identifies two problems fundamental in this fictional world. People aren't having enough babies, and we're killing old people. We talked about how the Manichaeism thing is in part to reclaim sexuality as good. That's why you had to read Dobson's porn. But largely, how do we encourage people to have more kids is kind of a non-issue in the book. Kevin gets buy-in pretty immediately from everyone in government about that. Even Evan Dimitri is on board for telling people to have more kids. The real issue is the killing of old people. And society kills them, Dobson says, because we do not value them enough. Ageism is a real thing. America, specifically, does not treat our elderly super well. But in Dobson's world, there is no role for the elderly at all. He spends so much time bemoaning how awful the world is to the elderly, how they aren't treated with respect or valued at all. Alex's first problematic line is, we live in a generation that's forgotten what it's mean to honor our fathers and mothers. And it's really hard to read this insistence on our mistreatment of the elderly by James fucking Dobson as anything other than him grappling with his own mortality and growing irrelevance.
Absolutely. How old would he have been when this came out?
James Dobson turned 78 years old by the end of 2014. He clearly is feeling undervalued and left behind. By 2014, he's no longer part of Focus on the Family. Obama is president the second time, so he's not a presidential advisor for a while. The world he was created for has largely moved on, and he's angry about it. Not for nothing, America does treat our old people poorly, but we care for them more than pretty much any other group as well. This isn't the Oppression Olympics, I have a broader point, but we give old people Medicaid and Social Security. They're the only group of Americans with a dedicated, somewhat accessible safety net. I bring this up not to say we treat the elderly well, but by making this such a focus of his work to the exclusion of any other factor like poverty. Poverty is not mentioned in this at all. For such it being an economic crisis, none of these characters are poor.
Right.
Things that significantly inhibit one's ability to live, let alone thrive in America. This whole thing feels less like a meaningful critique and more of a 1,200-page bitch fest. Everything James Dobson writes is fundamentally about him because he's unable to see outside of his own world. But this is perhaps the clearest example that we've ever seen. This series is the last major books that Dobson wrote in his life. I think that's fascinating. He wrote other shorter things, and he had a radio show up until he died, pretty much.
Where is that radio show?
Well, I can find the more modern ones. I cannot find, after he left Focus on the Family, I can find pretty much the entire catalog. When he was on Focus on the Family, that is lost media, and I desperately want it. But he totally moved away from any semblance of expertise. This is not a parenting book, even as bad as his other parenting books were. He accidentally made a multi-part manifesto to his own mortality and paranoia, and it wasn't even written well. These books sucked, and I will not miss any of these characters, except for Monica Garcia. I love Monica and her slutty legs, but I hate James Dobson.
I hate James Dobson. I hated hearing all of these characters, except for Monica, in all of these books. I do want to figure out who Alex Ware is from my life. And that is the takeaway that I had. And you learned how to say Karamazov.
Karamazov. Just in time to never say it ever again. A huge thank you to everyone who supports us over on Patreon, but especially our certified haters who would absolutely love the brothers Karamazov, probably. Big thanks to Aaron H., Abigail W., Amber, Ben, Betsy C., Brenda, aka Wrong Brenda, Bunny the Switchblade, Caitlin G., Kaylee Ann, Cardamon, Chad S., Crystalline, Christina R., Des, Drew L., Jerry L., Hannah B., Hannah L., Hannah S., Helly R., Jamie B., Jared B., Jen F., Jenna KD, Jennifer A., Joanna, Julie Beth of Tarth, Justin, Cami, Carissa, Katie M., Christopher W., Lindsay, Lindsay D., Lyra, Melinda, Mara N, Margaret H, Megan, Melody B, Melody S, MJ Russell 221B, Nate is Great 148, Peter H, Rachel H, Ravio 717, Sawyer N, Sean L, Spruce, Stacy, The Worst of All Possible Worlds, Theo, Timothy DN, Tor W, Trisha W, Tyler M, Unwritten Page, Vigilante Librarian, Winter Good Fox, and Ray.
Buy books. Ew, I hated these books.
These will be very fun to burn in our end of podcast bonfire.
Yeah, Easter egg.
I Hate James Dobson is a product of Red House Media and is a labor of love, spite, written, recorded, edited, and produced by me, Jake. I'm honored to be joined on this journey by my amazing co-host, Brooke. If you're enjoying the show, please consider rating and reviewing it. And if you want to connect with us more, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/IHateJamesDobson. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, Reddit, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Facebook at I Hate James Dobson. You can email us at IHateJamesDobson@gmail.com. We have merch available at IHateJamesDobson.printful.me, or, if all of that's too much, simply go to IHateJamesDobson.com to find everything about the show. Our theme music is by Moonbase, and the song is called Trendsetter. Special thanks, as always, to Drew, Lindsay, DJ, Jack, Gary, and Karina. And thank you, reader, for enjoying our show. Readers, Brooke, and other distinguished guests.
Wait.
Yeah?
Do you want me to sing the Odyssey song one more time?
Yes, I do.
It's like the sirens are calling you right now. You better tie yourself to that lamp, Jake.
I'm just imagining myself in like a week from now when the memory of this conversation becomes slightly fuzzy and then we start editing this and I come across that. I'm just trying to imagine how I will feel.
You will feel incredible.
Yes.
You'll feel called to the mountains.
That's when the siren song will really hit.
Okay, go on.